The annual Galactic Predator Competition was a grand spectacle, renowned across the universe as a test of each species' finest and fiercest hunters. Alien beings from distant galaxies would gather to present their deadliest creatures, monstrous, genetically enhanced beasts with teeth that could rend metal and claws that tore through rock. Each predator was hand-picked and trained to represent its planet, a badge of pride for species who saw themselves as masters of survival. Among the crowd, humans were largely dismissed. Earth, with its gravity-bound creatures, was considered primitive, its people deemed frail compared to the towering, armored, and often bio-enhanced champions of other worlds. Tales of Earth's so-called predators circulated as comedic relief, a mere footnote in the competition. But this year, a ripple of curiosity ran through the crowd when a human stepped onto the grounds, accompanied not by one, but by 4 immense beasts. Victor stood calmly amidst the excited murmurings and dubious laughter, flanked by his 4 towering bears. The massive creatures, each one a specimen of pure strength and natural ferocity, commanded instant attention. A polar bear, its white coat shimmering under the artificial lights. A grizzly, burly and powerful with claws like steel daggers. A colossal Kodiak with a deep growl that seemed to shake the ground. And a sleek black bear with sharp, intelligent eyes that gleamed with an alertness unlike the others. Whispers intensified as alien spectators nudged each other, pointing and commenting with amusement. One reptilian competitor sneered, his scaled lips curling back to reveal rows of fangs. "Those are Earth's apex predators," he hissed to his companion, a spindly insectoid being with limbs like scythes. Pathetic. Earth's creatures would barely make appetizers for the beasts of Crotar. Victor heard the snickering, but paid it no mind. His bears were unfazed by the cacophony of the crowd, their massive forms moving with calm precision, their eyes scanning the unfamiliar surroundings with quiet curiosity. Victor felt the weight of the aliens' disdain, but he was used to it by now. Earth was underestimated, its creatures derided, and humans had a reputation for being soft in a galaxy that valued raw power. Yet, he knew these aliens had no concept of what real survival looked like, how animals on Earth had evolved not with genetic modifications or weaponized tech, but with pure, relentless adaptability. The lead coordinator, a blue-skinned amphibious alien with 4 eyes that blinked in quick succession, approached with a clipboard-like device. "Victor Rasmussen," he said, his tone flat as he glanced between the human and his bears, barely concealing a smirk. "These are your entries?" Victor nodded, hands resting on the leashes of his bears. "Yes, they're more than ready." The coordinator snorted, giving a dismissive shake of his head. "Very well. You're aware that the first round alone claims half the competitors? Your pets may not even make it through the initial tests. They will face creatures that can move faster than the eye can see and possess strength that can crush reinforced steel." Victor's lips curled into a faint smile. "They'll manage." With an exasperated sigh, the coordinator motioned for them to enter the competitors' staging area. Victor strode forward, his bears padding beside him, muscles rippling under thick fur, eyes glinting with an almost eerie intelligence. The aliens around him fell silent, if only briefly, as they watched the man and his bears settle into position among the other competitors. Unlike the heavily restrained alien predators, who were muzzled, shackled, and controlled with various devices, Victor's bears stood freely, bound to him only by simple leashes and trust. As they waited for the event to begin, another alien competitor, an imposing figure clad in spiked armor, stepped forward to inspect Victor's animals. He towered over Victor, his broad shoulders heaving as he laughed, a harsh, metallic sound that echoed across the grounds. "You believe these pets stand a chance? My beast's claws drip with acid, its teeth sharper than plasma blades." He gestured to a creature behind him, a hulking, armored beast with scales that shimmered darkly and eyes that glowed with a predatory intelligence. Victor met his gaze without flinching. "I didn't come here for gimmicks or enhancements. My bears have survived battles in the wild. They know the taste of survival and have faced death without needing acid or tech implants. The alien scoffed, clearly unimpressed, and walked off with a dismissive wave of his spiked hand. Victor watched him go unbothered and turned to his bears. He knelt beside the polar bear, scratching the thick fur behind its ear. "Ready for this, old friend?" he murmured. The bear rumbled a low growl, nudging him with its snout, as if to say it was more than ready. A loud horn sounded, marking the official start of the competition. Alien handlers began ushering their beasts forward, activating containment fields, attaching shock collars, and giving last-minute adjustments to armor and weapon systems. Victor stood and glanced at his bears, giving each of them a nod. There was no need for restraints, no need for words. His bears knew what was expected, their instincts sharpened by a lifetime of hunting, surviving, and working alongside him. As Victor and his bears advanced into the arena, the alien spectators watched with a mixture of amusement and curiosity. Some were laughing, others whispering, but all eyes were on the unlikely contenders from Earth. Even the coordinator's dismissive tone had softened, his expression more thoughtful as he observed the quiet confidence radiating from Victor and his animals. They moved as one, a pack of predators, bound by a loyalty and understanding that was unspoken but deeply felt. Victor's bond with his bears was unlike anything the aliens had ever witnessed, a true connection forged through mutual respect, survival, and trust. And as the gates of the arena opened, revealing the wild, treacherous terrain where the competition would unfold, there was a spark of something new in the air. Maybe, just maybe, the creatures of Earth were not so weak after all. The arena gate swung open, revealing the hostile terrain designed for the competition's first round. It was an environment engineered to test the resilience and hunting prowess of each predator, with obstacles that shifted and hazards lurking behind every corner. The landscape ranged from jagged cliffs and toxic pools to dense forests cloaked in thick fog, terrain crafted to challenge even the most formidable alien beasts. Victor adjusted his grip on the leashes, feeling the tension in his bears as they observed the unknown environment with quiet intensity. Ahead of him, other competitors were already setting their predators loose, creatures bristling with enhancements that made them seem half-machine. A serpentine beast, glimmering with bioluminescent scales, slithered forward with unnerving speed. Another competitor unleashed a spider-like creature with metallic legs, sharp enough to puncture armor, its venomous fangs glistening as it skittered into the mist. Victor's bears stood calmly, each of them assessing their surroundings with primal instinct. These bears were no strangers to adversity. They'd survived fierce winters, harsh landscapes, and predators in the wild back on Earth. He could sense their readiness, their instincts sharpened, and their muscles coiled like springs. At his signal, he released them. The polar bear moved first, its powerful limbs propelling it with surprising stealth across the rocky ground. As it approached a ridge, it stopped, lifting its massive head to scent the air, its breath visible in the cold, artificial mist. The grizzly, bulkier and slower, opted for a different approach, lumbering forward with a deliberate gait, each step purposeful, as it scanned the surroundings with fierce, intelligent eyes. The Kodiak and black bear followed, their coordination almost uncanny, an unspoken understanding between them as they maneuvered around hazards with the agility that belied their size. As the round progressed, alien spectators leaned in, both curious and incredulous. One alien, a creature with faceted eyes and skin that rippled with color, muttered to his companion, "Look how they move. I thought Earth's predators were simple animals, but these they hunt like a team." Victor watched with a sense of pride as his bears displayed the skills honed over years of shared trials and training. They did not need voice commands or sophisticated tech. They communicated with each other through subtle cues, gestures, glances, shifts in body posture, each bear instinctively knowing its role in the hunt. In their first encounter, the polar bear led the charge, pouncing on a scaly, quadrupedal beast with jaws that snapped shut with bone-crushing force. Undeterred, the polar bear countered with a swipe of its paw, sending the alien creature tumbling. The Kodiak moved in next, striking the downed creature with brutal efficiency, ending the fight with one calculated blow. The spectators gasped, some watching with newfound respect, others barely concealing their unease. Earth's creatures, which they had mocked for their simplicity, were proving to be deadly efficient in the face of alien opposition. Meanwhile, the grizzly and black bear faced a different opponent, a six-legged insectoid predator equipped with sharp, serrated pincers and armored plating. As it lunged at them, the black bear dodged with surprising nimbleness, circling around to distract the creature. The grizzly seized the opening, charging forward with thunderous force, smashing into the insectoid's plated body. The alien creature's armor cracked under the onslaught, its shriek echoing through the arena. Spectators murmured in awe as the grizzly and black bear worked in seamless coordination, dismantling their opponent with relentless determination. Each encounter revealed the unique strengths of Victor's bears, and the aliens were beginning to see them as more than mere animals. Unlike the technologically modified alien predators, these bears had an adaptability and raw intelligence that required no enhancements. The crowd's initial mockery had all but vanished, replaced with an anxious respect for Earth's champions. Not all spectators were pleased by this turn. A hulking alien competitor, bearing scars from previous tournaments, scowled as he watched Victor's bears eliminate one adversary after another. His beast, a towering creature with spiked, plated armor and 3 razor-sharp tails, had been specifically engineered for destruction. Yet he felt a twinge of apprehension watching the seamless teamwork between Victor's unaltered predators. "They're just dumb animals," he muttered, as if reassuring himself. "This human doesn't stand a chance in the higher rounds." Victor overheard him but remained silent, focused on his bears, who had regrouped and were moving as a unit, scouting the next threat. They had already proven their resilience, their ability to work in harmony, and now their adaptability was on full display. Each bear played its role effortlessly, moving like pieces on a chessboard, their coordination so perfect that the crowd couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Unlike the alien competitors, who relied on control devices and shock collars, Victor's bears moved freely, their loyalty stemming not from coercion, but from trust and respect. The round drew to a close with Victor's bears standing victorious, the remains of their defeated opponents scattered around them. Alien competitors stared in stunned silence, many of them visibly disturbed by the unexpected strength and coordination of Earth's creatures. They had anticipated a spectacle, but not like this. What they had witnessed was not brute force alone, but strategy, patience, and unity, a level of sophistication they hadn't thought possible in Earth animals. The announcer's voice broke the silence, echoing across the arena. "Round 1 has concluded. Contestants will advance to round 2, where only the strongest hunters and predators remain." Victor let out a slow breath, his gaze steady as he looked over his bears, each of them calm and collected despite the carnage they'd left behind. He could feel the tension shift in the air as alien competitors eyed him and his bears with an intensity they hadn't before. Some glanced away, uncomfortable with this unforeseen competition, while others watched him with newfound respect, their skepticism replaced by a grudging acknowledgement of Earth's prowess. As Victor and his bears moved toward the staging area, he noticed a shift in the crowd's whispers. There were no more snickers, no mocking glances. For the first time, aliens were forced to admit that these primitive creatures might just be contenders. Victor gave a slight nod, a silent promise to his bears and himself. This was only the beginning. The arena was deathly silent as the second round began. Victor's bears, bruised but unwavering, stood ready on the edge of a new battlefield. This time, the terrain was darker, more ominous, with dense forests shadowed by twisted, unnatural trees and chasms that seemed to drop endlessly. The stakes were higher now, with only the most lethal alien predators advancing to this stage. Unlike the previous round, these creatures were larger, faster, and possessed terrifying abilities honed through genetic modifications and bioenhancements. The alien announcer's voice crackled over the intercom, detailing the upcoming matchups in a booming tone. The competitors have now reached the final elimination round. Each hunter must face the deadliest predators in the galaxy, armed with unmatched power and lethal precision. Victor took a steadying breath, his gaze fixed on his four bears. They, too, seemed to sense the gravity of this round, their muscles taut, their eyes sharp and unblinking. This was no ordinary hunt. These beasts were unlike anything they'd ever encountered back on Earth. Yet he had faith in their instincts and in the bond that had carried them this far. The first of their alien adversaries emerged, an enormous creature with multiple limbs, each tipped with venomous barbs that dripped with a greenish ichor. Its head bore 3 eyes that glowed a fierce red, scanning the arena with predatory hunger. It let out a guttural roar, its maw lined with rows of serrated teeth. The spectators murmured excitedly, some jeering at the Earth team's odds, others watching intently, still trying to comprehend the humans' unexpected success. The bears formed a loose semicircle around the alien beast, each taking up their position with practiced precision. The polar bear stepped forward, its immense frame low and ready, while the black bear flanked it, slipping through the shadows to position itself for an attack. Meanwhile, the Kodiak and grizzly held their ground, watching, waiting for an opportunity to strike. The alien creature lunged first, its barbed limbs slicing through the air. It swung one of its massive appendages at the polar bear, but the bear dodged with surprising agility, sidestepping as the creature's barb lodged into the earth. The polar bear retaliated, its powerful jaws clamping down on the alien's limb, snapping through chitin and sinew with brutal efficiency. A high-pitched shriek tore from the creature's throat as it recoiled, ichor spilling from the wound. Taking advantage of the distraction, the black bear darted in from the side, sinking its claws into the creature's exposed flank. It tore a gaping wound in the alien's side before nimbly retreating as the beast flailed, its remaining limbs thrashing. This teamwork was unexpected to the onlookers, who gasped at the fluidity with which the bears attacked and withdrew, each strike coordinated, each movement calculated. The alien competitor who had previously mocked Victor clenched his fists, his earlier confidence giving way to a sense of disquiet. He muttered under his breath, disbelief etched across his face. How are they doing this? They're just animals. Victor heard him and allowed himself a quiet smile. His bears weren't mindless predators. They were intelligent, skilled hunters, honed through years of hardship and partnership. They knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, trusted each other to act when the moment was right. He had trained with them, survived with them, fought by their side, and now, all of that was paying off in ways the aliens couldn't comprehend. The alien creature, now cornered, let out a desperate roar and lunged at the Kodiak, swinging its barbed limb with murderous intent. But the Kodiak stood its ground, ducking low and driving its shoulder into the creature's chest. With a fierce growl, it reared up, slamming its full weight down on the alien's thorax, crushing it with a sickening crunch. The spectators gasped as the alien predator fell, its red eyes dimming as it lay motionless on the ground. Victor's bears regrouped, panting but unscathed, their coats streaked with blood and ichor. They had defeated one of the galaxy's most feared beasts, but Victor knew this was only the beginning. A rumbling tremor shook the ground as the next opponent emerged, a massive, serpentine creature with scales as hard as steel and a head crowned by venomous spines. Its tail flicked, leaving scorch marks on the ground where it passed. This creature was smarter, faster, and clearly experienced in the art of battle. It coiled its body, eyeing the bears with cold, calculating eyes, and then struck with blinding speed. The grizzly barely dodged as the creature's tail whipped past, slashing the ground where it had stood. Instinctively, the grizzly retaliated, raking its claws across the creature's side, but the scales proved too tough, leaving only shallow scratches. Victor clenched his fists, assessing the battlefield as the bears regrouped, recalibrating their approach. The Kodiak moved in, circling to the creature's right, while the polar bear stalked to its left, each probing for a weakness in its armor. Meanwhile, The black bear darted between the two, an agile, distracting presence that kept the creature's attention divided. The alien serpent lunged for the black bear, but the grizzly, seizing the opportunity, slammed into its side with enough force to knock it off balance. The polar bear followed through, clamping its jaws onto one of the creature's spines, ripping it out with a forceful twist of its neck. The serpent writhed in agony, its shriek echoing across the arena as ichor sprayed from the wound. Sensing its vulnerability, the Kodiak moved in for the final strike. With a deep, resonant roar, it lunged at the creature's exposed throat, clamping down with all its might. The serpent's thrashing slowed, then ceased as the Kodiak held firm, crushing its windpipe with relentless pressure until the alien fell silent, defeated. A stunned silence filled the arena. The spectators, alien competitors, and even the announcer seemed at a loss for words as Victor's bears stood victorious once more, breathing heavily but unbowed. The bears' unity, their unspoken understanding, had turned the tide of what should have been an impossible battle. They were no longer mere animals in the eyes of the crowd. They were a force of nature, an undeniable testament to Earth's resilience and strength. Victor stepped forward, resting a hand on each of his bears in turn, feeling the steady thrum of their hearts beneath his palms. They had faced death, yet they remained unbroken, bonded by loyalty and survival. He looked up at the crowd, his gaze steady, his voice carrying over the stillness. This is what Earth can do. The final round awaited, but there was no doubt left among the spectators. Whatever came next, they understood now that Victor and his bears were no fluke. They were contenders. The final arena was silent, a cavernous amphitheater where only the strongest remained. The crowd had thinned, some spectators shaken, others weary of the relentless carnage. Those who stayed watched with renewed respect, eyes fixed on Victor and his bears, now bloody but standing tall. Alien faces once marked by amusement now bore expressions of respect and awe. In a galaxy that revered only power, Earth's beasts had won their place. The announcer's voice echoed across the arena, formal and reverent. The last match, a final test to determine the mightiest hunters of the galaxy, will begin shortly. Contenders, prepare yourselves. At the far side of the arena, the ground trembled as a massive beast emerged. This creature was no ordinary competitor. Towering over the others, it was a monstrosity bred solely for dominance, covered in plates of metallic armor that glinted ominously under the stadium lights. Its eyes, a malevolent shade of green, fixated on Victor's bears with a cruel intelligence. It had 3 muscular arms on each side, each ending in claws the length of a human arm, and its gaping maw was lined with serrated teeth that dripped with viscous saliva. A hush fell over the audience. Even the most hardened spectators seemed to hold their breath, sensing that this was no ordinary showdown. The creature advanced, leaving deep gouges in the ground with each step. Victor's bears shifted into formation without hesitation, exhaustion set aside as they prepared to face this final trial. The beast roared, a sound so intense it rattled the walls of the arena, but Victor's bears remained steady, their calm a testament to their resolve. The Kodiak took the lead, stepping forward and letting out a low, challenging growl. The alien creature responded by slamming a massive fist into the ground, creating a shockwave that reverberated through the arena. Rocks splintered and dust rose, but the bears held their ground, their eyes locked on their enemy. The Kodiak lunged first, closing the distance between itself and the monster. It feinted to the left, drawing the creature's attention, then swiped to the right with a brutal paw strike that dented one of the armored plates covering the creature's leg. Meanwhile, the grizzly charged in from behind, attacking the exposed joints of the creature's limb, its claws scraping through metal with a sharp, grating sound. The beast roared in frustration, swinging one massive arm toward the grizzly, but the black bear darted in to distract it, nipping at the creature's flank before darting away again. The polar bear, towering and powerful, circled around, watching for an opening. It waited, patient as ever, while its companions kept the creature occupied. Then, with a low rumble, it sprang forward, sinking its powerful jaws into the exposed neck just below the beast's jaw. The monster bellowed, its armored body buckling as it struggled to shake the polar bear loose. But the bear held firm, its teeth piercing through layers of hide and sinew. Victor watched, his heart pounding, but his face calm. He knew the risks. This creature was bred for destruction, and his bears had no armor, no technological enhancements. Yet they fought not just with strength, but with something deeper, a resilience born of trust and survival. They had each other, and they had him, and that bond had carried them through every trial thus far. The beast finally managed to shake the polar bear off, but the grizzly and black bear seized the moment, attacking with renewed fury. Claws and teeth met flesh and armor, relentless, unyielding. The crowd erupted in cheers as they watched the bears coordinate, their movements fluid, precise. Each of them knew exactly when to attack, when to pull back, their instincts honed to a razor edge. The creature staggered, its once intimidating form now weakened, its body riddled with injuries. Ichor seeped from its wounds, staining the ground around it, and its roars grew weaker with each passing moment. The Kodiak delivered the final blow, charging with a force that shook the arena, crashing into the creature and sending it sprawling to the ground defeated. As the dust settled, silence fell over the arena once more. Victor's bears stood victorious, their breaths heavy, their fur matted with blood and sweat. But they stood unbroken, their gaze steady as they surveyed the aftermath. The crowd rose to its feet, a wave of applause and cheers filling the air. The aliens who had once scoffed at Earth's predators now looked on with respect, some even bowing their heads in acknowledgement of the bears' strength and tenacity. Victor approached his bears, placing a steadying hand on each of them, his expression one of quiet pride. He felt the weight of the moment, the understanding that they had done what no one had believed possible. Earth's creatures had stood against the galaxy's most feared predators and emerged victorious, not through technology or enhancements, but through trust, unity, and raw, unfiltered resilience. The announcer's voice returned, more subdued this time, carrying a tone of respect. Victor Rasmussen and his bears have emerged as champions of the galactic predator competition. Today, Earth has proven itself a force to be reckoned with. As Victor led his bears out of the arena, the crowd continued to cheer, alien voices lifted in respect. Competitors who had once mocked him now approached, offering nods and words of admiration. Some alien spectators even reached out, as if hoping to touch the legendary beast that had defied the odds and won their respect. One of the previous competitors, the hulking figure who had earlier doubted Victor's team, approached him. "Your bears fought with courage," he said, his voice gruff but sincere. "They are remarkable creatures." Victor nodded, a small smile on his lips. "They're more than that," he replied, glancing back at his bears with pride. "They're my family." As they exited the arena, Victor felt a sense of fulfillment unlike any he had known. His bears had proven themselves, not just to the galaxy, but to a universe that would remember Earth's creatures as something far greater than mere animals. They were legends now, and together, they had forged a bond that no force in the galaxy could break. With one last look at the arena, Victor and his bears walked into the future, their victory a lasting testament to Earth's indomitable spirit.